Hello there, I'm Kios, the Ronin Beatmaker, and welcome to Lounge Ronin, all things, everything. If you're new to the channel, please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. And on this episode, we're going to discuss the Great Pyramid of Giza, the monument to the creation of life. Now, with all things, everything, I implore you to do your own research, as you may be surprised at what you discover about yourself and the world. So without further ado, let's get into it. Hello there, I'm Kios, Ronin Beatmaker, and welcome to Ronin Art and Music, home to Ronin Music, Lounge Ronin, all things, everything, the Monday Mindset, Rants, and Ronin Reviews. We strive to make holistic and authentic content that aims to improve your individuality. Now, this article was updated June 17, 2013, written by William Whiteven. The Great Pyramid of Giza as a Monument of Creation. Part 1. Earth. The four elements, earth, water, air, and fire, are decoded in the Great Pyramid of Giza. Each of these elements represent a part of our creation, in which the divine is represented by the overreaching fifth element, ether. Ether as a carrier of all information, as well as on earth as beyond earth's boundaries. In the so-called circle of creation, image 1, all process take place, and the Great Pyramid of Giza plays a leading role in this. This monument applies to the most complete library of our knowledge, and therefore the most important inheritance we have ever been given as humanity. Knowledge from the past as guidance from the present and the future. Consider yourself a pilgrim and let the buzzard guide you. The buzzard as a totem animal stands as a death and resurrection, but more important for the emergence of a new vision based on logic and intuition. Have a pleasant journey. The element earth. Ancient Egyptians called their land Kemet, so called after the black fertile mud left on the banks of the Nile after the annual floodings, which made it possible to farm and live off the land. The oldest part of Kemet dates from the period before the coming of the ancient Egyptians, and was also called Bu-Wizir in indigenous traditions, which mean lands of Osiris. This land of Osiris was mainly formed through a belt of or collection of pyramid complexes and temples over a distance of about 80 kilometers along the western banks of the Nile. This belt runs from medium and south downstream through the Giza Plateau to Abba Rouge, several kilometers north of Giza. These complexes, dating from the same period, have a special connection with each other concerning location, construction, function, and the same applied high technology. As far as we can ascertain, most pyramid complexes are physically connected through an underground network of tunnels. Evidence of these tunnels is abandoned but is withheld from us by the Egyptian authorities. The existing entrances to these tunnel systems are mostly covered by concrete shields, as can be clearly seen in Saqqara, a few kilometers south of Giza. Not a grave for Pharaoh Khufu, but some kind of advanced processing technology from an early age in human civilization. A period in history which began at the end of the last main ice age, approximately 10,500 years BC, or 7,350 years before the beginning of the early dynastic period. The land behind the illusions, crowned by a sophisticated civilization with an important message for present generations, an inheritance which was previously left for the ancient Egyptians, and is now meant for us. Ancient Egyptian culture forms an important part in this inheritance. And something we must keep in mind is that, noticing throughout this article, the author stresses that the Egyptians didn't build the pyramids. And we know that to be the case due to the water erosion on the pyramids and on the Sphinx. Robert Schoch, I believe, and Randall Carlson but I believe it was Randall Carlson. Yeah, both of them, I believe, confirmed that the pyramids and the Sphinx were not built by the Egyptians due to the water erosion. Because at one point during a great cataclysm, the last cataclysm, it was raining for hundreds of years. Not only that, we know currently that the oldest pyramid in the world is in Indonesia, Grand Padang, which was built before the last ice age, which predates, which is a pre-dynastic period. Now, I don't know whether or not, and this is for you to do in your own research, but you're gonna have to look into the math of the years to compare that in terms of the pyramids in Egypt. We also have to take in consideration the pyramids in China. I mentioned those last week. What about the Bosnian pyramid? I did an entire episode on the Bosnian pyramid, and the Bosnian pyramid has the same mathematical frequencies as those in the Giza pyramid in Egypt. So, it clearly wasn't the Egyptians that built the Bosnian pyramid. So, like I said, these are things to look into when you do your own research. Let's continue. The Great Pyramid of Giza is part of the Giza Pyramid complex situated on the edge of modern Cairo. The Giza Plateau, known by us from the Sphinx and the three large pyramids, the Pyramid of Khufu, the Pyramid of Khufu, Khafra, successor of Khufu, and Menkaure, the successor of Khafra and the son of Khufu. All pharaohs from the 4th dynasty, all-time period from 2613 until 2498 BC. This dynasty marks the beginning of the Old Empire. The Giza Plateau is a highly situated massive rock plateau and therefore inextricably connected with the structures on it. Because of this, the contact with the earth is optimal, and further on it will show that this is a very important considering the final function of the whole complex. Therefore, we can state that the structures on the plateau are part of the great massive that is the earth, not hindered or disturbed by the immediate ground layers or different stone layers, but a pure continuation of the earth in stone. Every vibration in the earth and the rock plateau of Giza is unabated, passes on to the Great Pyramid, functioning as one of that is exactly what it is meant to do. Some people believe that the pyramids of Giza are factories used that were fueled with manure. I believe it was the Higher Side chats that had a great I believe it was either Higher Side or Tim or Sam Tripley that had a researcher on. Pretty sure it was Higher Side chats. Really compelling information. I highly recommend you go and search for that puppy. And there are 11 pyramids on the plateau. In total, there are 11 pyramids on the plateau. 3 large ones and 8 smaller satellite pyramids, the Sphinx, and some temples. The whole Giza Plateau measures about 250,000 millimeters. The Great Pyramid occupies a special place in this because of its special interior and exterior, which is different from the other pyramids. For modern society, the Great Pyramid stands for the Hall of Records, a place long searched for and where all knowledge of ancient civilizations is supposed to be hidden. The knowledge, however, is not hidden, but is gathered in the special design of the Great Pyramid itself. A knowledge center instead of a grave complex. Many researchers have searched for the years for the hidden knowledge without even considering that the Great Pyramid itself is the biggest treasure of all times. No gold or valuable objects, but an enormous library of knowledge and technology intended for current generations. Technology without using current destructive explosion technology causing damage to our planet, but a technology using special properties of our Earth. You can call it frontier science or pseudoscience, but please come out of the choking, limited box in which all seems to be scientifically proven. Knowledge, however, is not synonym for truth. Embark on a quest and let the stones speak for themselves. Communicate only by means of the oldest and most important language there is, the universal language of numbers and logic. Numbers laid down in the blueprint of creation. The great mathematician Pythagoras always said, all is number. The three pyramids on the plateau are a direct projection on the Earth of the so-called inner planets Earth, Venus, and Mercury. The positioning of the sides of the three pyramids in relation to each other corresponded to the size of the planets and the mutual position at a certain period in time. The Sphinx was an eastward headed in line shows us in what bandwidth of time we should look for. The bandwidth matches the astrological era of the line, which began about 12,000 years ago and covers a period of 2,160 years. We currently find ourselves in the transition era of the Pisces to the era of Aquarius. The exact position of these three pyramids in relation to the three inner planets gives us a year of 10,472 BC as reference year of the whole Giza complex, a complex with a construction period of at least 300 years instead of a period of 20 years the Egyptologists give us. Now, that sounds a little bit more realistic. I think it's funny that the Egyptologists want to say that the Egyptians were able to build the pyramids of Giza in 20 years with slaves and elephants. That's how stupid they think we are. That's how little they think of us. That's why Zahi Hawass, you may like him, you may hate him. I don't like him. I think he's a fraud and a corrupt person. But the reality is that they think so little of our intelligence that they will give us the most asinine reasons for some of the most incredible constructions on Earth that we could never replicate to this day. Yeah. F all that nonsense. Let's continue. And here's the picture. Mercury, Venus, Earth. All right. The Great Pyramid of Giza contains several different mathematical and astronomical units that have been discovered by modern civilizations much later. For instance, the circumference of the base in inches is equal to the distance of the tops of the three pyramids and corresponds to our solar year of 365,242 days. We only had to move to the point to see it. The sum of the basic diagnosis of the base measured in inches is equal to the precision of the Earth's axis within a period of 25,920 years. This is known as the Great Galactic Year. The exact latitude of the Great Pyramid displayed in the decimal notation is a measurement for the exact speed of light in meters per sound. The latitude of 29.9792458 degrees north equals the speed of light of 299,792,458 meters per second. Meters in second were not known at that time according to our modern scientists. Yeah, according to our modern scientists. Yeah, who was it? Brahmagupta discovered calculus during the ancient times, but they want to credit it to a German guy? Yeah, okay. Spare me the BS. But let's continue. The most important mathematical constants, pi and phi, is decoded in the measurements of the monument, both externally and internally through the visible outside dimensions and dimensions of passages and chambers. There are many examples that absolutely no longer can be designed as coincidence, like many ancient stone circles, which are often based on lunar cycles, indicates the Great Pyramid us by means of squaring the circle in mathematics at the importance of our moon as guardian of creation and therefore responsible for life on Earth. The sun, the earth, and the moon as trinity unity by the same numbers and frequencies. Everything is music in the harmony of the spheres. Pythagoras. And that concludes part 1. Now let's head over to part 2. But the thing that I find really fascinating here is that, like I was telling you about the Bosnian pyramid, um, the pyramids in Egypt, the pyramid in Greece, the pyramid in in Grand Panam, the pyramids in Mexico. Um, we have pyramids all over the world. There are pyramids in the United States. They're called mounds, but if you were to dust them off a little bit, they'd look like pyramids. But that's the last thing the Smithsonian or the United States government would want any of us to know. And I think it's interesting how, we like to downplay the intelligence of ancient man, yet clearly their mathematical superiority was next to none. And I mean the past civilizations, the ones that actually built the pyramids and constructed that world civilization that clearly was around, but had suffered extinction due to a great cataclysmic event. But they want to keep us docile. They want to keep us dumb and ignorant. They want to tell you that elephants were carrying 900-ton limestone blocks from a quarry that was 800 miles away. That's how stupid they think of us. Like I said earlier, that's how little they think of us. And I highly recommend you keep that in mind as you move forward in this new age that we are progressing towards. An age of the CBD currency. An age of biometrics. An age of freedom as an illusion. And as they continue to bury and suppress Gobekli Tepe, as they continue to obfuscate the truth, as they continue to destroy historical sites through the guises of war and instability, how long are you willing to be complicit in such actions? Something to keep in mind. Let's continue. Now, this article, we're reading a four-part series by the same author, so just so we don't have to go through the same motions again, but we're going to go with the pyramid. We're going to go with the introduction. All right, let's do it. The Great Pyramid of Giza as a Monument of Creation, Part 2, Water Element. The Sphinx is not a mythical creature from Egyptian mythology, and no half man, half lion, but a lying guardian lion who was worshipped. At the time of the living gods' floods of the Nile, the sun and the constellations of Leo came both above the horizon in the east, and therefore the Sphinx was called the guardian of the sun. In the northern hemisphere, the constellation Leo can be seen in the spring, the season that the rainy season starts in eastern Africa. The tropical moon-scoon climate in Central and Eastern Africa with its heavy rains is the most important water supplier of the Nile and thus resulted in flooding in Egypt. The Lion of Giza on the banks of the Nile welcomes the Nile of Hapi, the Egyptian god of the floods. The coming water is a fact and therefore the further process but is into action. Though the flooded Nile at the height of Giza was pure water was admitted to the Sphinx temple and the so-called Sphinx moat in which the Sphinx as a guardian of the plateau is placed. Besides clean, the water had to be pure. Pure water with pure vibrational frequency cooks more quickly. The water had completely natural way, without interference from outside, to find its way into the Sphinx temple where it, through a so-called organic movements in the temple itself, was further purified before being admitted to the Sphinx moat through an ingenious lock system. Intact water molecules with the appropriate pure energy as raw material for the most natural and special house of energy ever built. Yeah, they really want to tell you that the Egyptians were doing all of this fun jazz. Come on now. Here we have an image, the Sphinx moat filled with water from the Nile. And like I said earlier with Randall Carlson and Robert Schock up regarding water erosion on the Sphinx, if the water erosion on the Sphinx is earlier than the arrival of the Egyptians, how can the Egyptians be the ones that constructed the Sphinx? It's just common sense, y'all. Let's continue. Through wells on the west side of the body of the Sphinx, the water was further admitted to the underground reservoirs and tunnels which are located underneath the Giza Plateau. Directly underneath the Sphinx is a water reservoir that forms an important part of the so-called Heron's principle. This means that water in a natural manner can be put under pressure and can thus be driven up the direction of the Great Pyramid. This is also known as Heron's fountain and is used to pump up water to a higher level in a natural way. Because the various pyramid complexes along the Nile were connected by an underground tunnel system, it was quite easy to carry the water to the lower pyramids like the Great Pyramid of Giza. The Giza Pyramid itself never flooded due to the high altitude, but is known the water of the river Nile during the floods came to the front paws of the Sphinx. Through Herodotus, 43 BC, through the appropriate location of the Sphinx temple, the water of life from the Nile equal to the power of the sun, manifesting through the sun god Ra or Re, and destined for the complex of Giza. The pure water was used as raw material for the Great Pyramid. Through the subterranean chamber, the water came into the Great Pyramid, and through the pressure, the excess water was led back through the descending passage to the outside of the pyramid. A special valve in the form of a hinged prism and the completely closed pyramid ensured that the vacuum could emerge from the above water surface remaining in the Great Pyramid after closing the water supply. So here we have an image of the Heron's fountain and how it works. And this is next level in terms of ingenuity. I mean, come on, guys. And who is it? Uncharted X? I mean, he's been examining those vases that they've been uncovered in Egypt, and the mathematical precision is something that we couldn't even comprehend to do right now. I mean, listen, guys, like Egypt and the Egyptians are a fascinating thing because you also have Solon talk when he went to go study with the priests in Egypt, telling him about how they were able to head to North America. You know, why is it that there were Egyptian artifacts found in North America? Why is it the Irish can trace their lineage back to an Egyptian queen named Senu? I mean, I'm just saying, y'all. And I did an episode on the great Irish kings, the great gypsy rulers of Ireland. It's in my live stream section. And we talk about Egypt in that one. So I'm just telling y'all, like, the hidden history, man, is, it's fantastical. Let's continue. The strong vacuum above the water surface ensured that the water was boiling without the addition of heat. And in this way, the completely closed pyramid was further filled up with the resulting water vapor. The various vertical shafts and wells on the platform support this theory, and the attachment points of the prism stone in descending passages are still visible. The water that is allowed in the Great Pyramid is pure water. The formation of water vapor occurs in a natural manner without the use of heat. The next stage in the process of commitment in the element of water with the element of air through sound. The influence of acoustic resonance and vibration on water molecules is very special, and this property plays an important role in the process technology of the Great Pyramid. Implosion technology instead of explosion technology. Now that's interesting because, you know, there are claims of these very strange devices that have been found around the Giza Plateau that seem to be machines that use sound. And we know that limestone is easy to lift through frequencies. You know, British explorers for the English government, when they were in Tibet, they have footage and they witnessed Tibetan monks using sound to levitate rocks. Now, that is one of the speculations as to how many of the pyramids throughout the entire world were built. You look at the wall of, oh God, what's the name of the wall in South America? Oh God, I can't think of the name of the wall. But anyways, like we know that sound technology is a thing, and it's clear that this ancient civilizations, or the multitude of ancient civilizations, at various times use sound as a form of construction and design. We just have to we just have to acknowledge that. It is what it is. And I'm sure they know how to do it, but you can't profit off of free energy, and that's why we are here in this paradigm of, I love to compare us to Warhammer 40K, this stagnation in technology, the way the Imperium of Mankind is essentially just stagnated in its technology. And I feel that we are no different than the Imperium of Mankind. It's 2024, but we still are driving gas powered cars. We still pay electric bills. These are things that we have to keep in mind. It's just fascinating to me. But let's continue. The Great Pyramid of Giza as a Monument of Creation, Part 3, Air Element. Sound is defined as a vibration of the element of air, or a small change in air pressure, which propagated through the medium of air. The number of vibrations or changes in air pressure per unit of time is expressed in hertz, the audible to the human ear from 20 to 200 hertz. This means that we can hear sounds between 20 and 20,000 hertz. 20,000 hertz. Sound below 20 hertz is called infrasound, or low frequency sound that's not heard. This noise, however, can be felt. Acoustics is a science that deals with the study of sound, and it also shows the influence that a given space has on the sound of vibration or sound. Think of ultrasound technology, whether it's used for viewing injuries, or used for in well, I just had a brain fart. In rehabilitation. You guys know what I'm talking about. If you've ever had like ultrasound done on your feet for problems, which I've had done, it feels really good. It's really cool. Or any kind of why am I getting off topic? Anyways, let's continue. Sorry. Researchers and visitors of the Grand Gallery and the King's Chamber in the Great Pyramid experienced a very special acoustics, and that is mainly due to the reverberation that occurs due to the resonance of the sound waves. And that's no coincidence. That is deliberately. The resonance of the sound waves for example, in the King's Chamber is strongly dependent on the size of this chamber, and these dimensions are deliberately chosen. Like everything is consistently chosen, is consciously chosen in the construction of the internal and the external pyramid. The German professor of physics, Winfried Otto Schumann, 1888 to 1974, discovered in 1952 that in the atmosphere there are resonating electromagnetic waves to be measured with a frequency value of around 8 hertz. This is called Schumann resonance frequency, and is a natural phenomenon that occurs, for example, electricity discharges in the atmosphere. This creates a low-frequency resonance effect, which pulsates with a measured dominant frequency of 7.83 hertz between the surface of the Earth and the ionosphere at the altitude of about 80 kilometers. This is called the resonance frequency of the Earth, whose prominent standing wave is 7.83 hertz. This is also called the heartbeat of the Mother Earth, or the voice of the Earth. The value of the Schumann frequency depends on the position of the Earth. The Earth is a flattened sphere, and thus can be calculated that the Schumann frequency for the position of Giza is 8.1 hertz. This is important because the King's Chamber was built for a resonance frequency of 16.2 hertz. In and around the pyramid in general, the frequency is around 8 hertz, measurable with very sensitive equipment. The Serbian-American physicist Nikola Tesla discovered in 1900 that the resonant frequency of the Earth is around 8 hertz, but his invention was not taken very seriously in his time. He used the resonant frequency on the Earth's atmosphere because at this frequency it functions as a very good conductor for radio signals. From the period also date the experiments of the Wandering Cliff Tower, which unfortunately was never completed. A pyramid is comparable to the Wandering Cliff Tower. I know I'm not pronouncing that right. I apologize. They are both used as an antenna for the Schumann frequency. The Great Pyramid resonated because of its structure, dimensions, and location at the time of the construction of the Schumann frequency of 8.1 hertz, the keynote of Mother Earth. This frequency was captured by the Great Pyramid, and that is only possible by choosing the right location on the plateau, aka ley lines. The correct correction of Earth, water, and air, Mother Earth acts as a tuning fork or the universe and the Great Pyramid, as was tuned to the frequency. To capture and stabilize the Earth frequency, the Grand Gallery in the Great Pyramid was equipped with a pure quartz disc, permanently mounted by means of a special construction. When the quartz crystal in the Grand Gallery was brought in vibration and held by the means of the fundamental frequency of the Earth, there was a sound wave with a very constant and stable frequency, exclusively caused by the quartz crystal and almost not affected by the environmental factors. This sound wave, in physics known as a traveling wave, was amplified by the antechamber and passed by the king's chamber to form a standing wave, exactly fitting in this space and cause a resonance in the king's chamber. And when I say ley lines, that's ether, but that's a whole nother thing. I'm not going to get off topic. The amplified sound wave that reaches the king's chamber is composed of the fundamental frequency or keynote of 8.1 hertz. 8.1 hertz as the first harmonic. The first overtone or second harmonic, which is integral multiple of the fundamental frequency, is then 16 hertz. Hold on one second, guys. Hello there, I'm Kios Ronin Beatmaker, and welcome to Ronin Art and Music, home to Ronin Music, Lounge Ronin, all things, everything. The Monday Mindset, Rants, and Ronin Reviews. We strive to make holistic and authentic content that aims to improve your individuality, mental fortitude, and peace of mind. If you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Stay positive, stay focused, stay true, and much love. Now, back to the show. Hello there, I'm Kios Ronin Beatmaker, and welcome to Ronin Art and Music, home to Ronin Music, Lounge Ronin, all things, everything. The Monday Mindset, Rants, and Ronin Reviews. We strive to make holistic and authentic content that aims to improve your individuality, mental fortitude, and peace of mind. If you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Stay positive, stay focused, stay true, and much love. Now, back to the show. Hello there, I'm Kios Ronin Beatmaker, and welcome to Ronin Art and Music, home to Ronin Music, Lounge Ronin, all things, everything. The Monday Mindset, Rants, and Ronin Reviews. We strive to make holistic and authentic content that aims to improve your individuality, mental fortitude, and peace of mind. If you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Stay positive, stay focused, stay true, and much love. Now, back to the show. Hello there, I'm Kios Ronin Beatmaker, and welcome to Ronin Art and Music, home to Ronin Music, Lounge Ronin, all things, everything. The Monday Mindset, Rants, and Ronin Reviews. We strive to make holistic and authentic content that aims to improve your individuality, mental fortitude, and peace of mind. If you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Stay positive, stay focused, stay true, and much love. Now, back to the show. Okay, I apologize for that. Just had to return a call. Okay, where are we? Okay, yeah, we amplified. We did all that fun jazz. Okay, and it is this frequency of 16.2 hertz that, by the dimensions of the King's chamber, exactly fits and ensures that resonance occurs and a standing wave will form. The other harmonics of 8.1 hertz do not fit in this chamber and will fade away. A standing wave can only occur if there is a resonance, and a resonance can only occur if the wavelength of the sound fits into the confined space, as in the case of the King's chamber. The frequency of 16.2 hertz given by the formula F equals VA, where V is the speed of sound and the overall wavelength A equal 2 times the length of the confined King's chamber. In image 7, the total wavelength AC equals exactly 21 meters. Okay, shout out to any of my mathematicians out there. Perhaps maybe you can break that down for us in the comments section. But this is one of the things I keep on saying. Like, they keep on wanting. Like, I'm not disrespecting or dissing that the Egyptian kingdoms were not advanced and smart. They clearly were. But to be ignorant and make it as if they did all of this when we know for a fact they were incapable of doing it is just ignorant and downright just disrespectful to our ancient past and civilizations. But that's just me personally, and that's just how I feel personally, I should stress. Let's continue. Because the resonant frequency of the quartz crystal in the used Aswan granite is very constant, it could be tuned the entire Grand Gallery in King's Chamber. The Grand Gallery in the King's Chamber consists entirely of Aswan granite that contains a lot of quartz. The quartz is the carrier of the frequency, just like crystal receiver in the first radios. Just like crystals in the first radios. Come on, guys. And you guys, if you watch Godzilla X Kong, they were using crystals for communication. Okay, anyways. The resonance frequency is the frequency at which the quartz crystal is a vibrant of resonance, and thereby the whole King's chamber is set to resonate. The King's chamber, with the so-called receiving chambers above, is purpose-built and is called the Resonance Tower, with a total height of 21 meters. The sarcophagus placed in the King's chamber is like a tuning fork that was used to check whether the whole construction resonated at the right frequency. The elements earth, water, and air are thus linked. And we have an image below of Aswan filled with quartz. I'm telling you guys, fascinating. Fascinating. You realize we can't replicate any of this technology. We can't replicate it. Any of it. I'm sure many of you guys have seen those videos, and man, I should have pulled up that Twitter page of all these videos of them showing modern day forklifts, cranes, all that fun jazz, attempting to move countless of these large boulders and blocks, whether it's in Egypt or in Bosnia or anywhere where there's these large pyramids. They can't do it. They cannot do it. They'll make their outlandish claims and say, oh, we were able to move them with sand and water and all this nonsense. But they can't prove the precision of the cutting. That does not prove the precision of the cuts and the way they transported it. We know that they've recently found the largest Egyptian boat, and it could not carry the weight of any of these stone blocks. So I cannot stress this enough when you guys do your own research to look into these things specifically. Now let's continue to part 4, the final. The Great Pyramid of Giza as a monument of creation, part 4, fire element. Dr. I apologize. Dr. Andrija K. Punakrik, born in 1918 in Chicago, was a physician, inventor, and parapsychologist and has many talents of inventions in the medical field to his name. Dr. P had a great admiration for Serbian scientist Dr. Nikola Tesla for his research on low frequency electromagnetic waves in the early 20th century. An important invention by Dr. P in 1938 was splitting of water molecules into hydrogen and oxygen by means of powerful resonance, resulting in an environmentally friendly fuel made of water. A critical resonance in water molecules induced a strong alternating current impulses which only strengthened itself, like soldiers marching over a bridge. The breaking of water through powerful resonance is to this day not accepted by current science as a method for production of hydrogen, but this is exactly what took place in the resonance chamber in the Great Pyramid. See, this is what I'm talking about. Like the mainstream academia is like some of the worst in gatekeeping and suppressing new ideas and information. But let's continue. I don't want to go off on a Ronin rant. It is here applied for the cleanest possible way to produce a very viable fuel from pure raw water. The water molecules are broken and the chambers and passages located above the grotto, water sealer valve, and the well shaft to the Great Pyramid are filled with hydrogen gas and oxygen gas mixture. In the resonance chamber, the Great Pyramid, which is completely filled with water vapor, and the water will decompose by resonance instead of electricity, but finds the same reaction as the electrolysis of water, 2OH2O, 2H2 to O2O2, hydrogen and oxygen from water. And here we have the image. Water is blue, water vapor is yellow, and hydrogen and oxygen are red. In a fuel cell, a reverse reaction takes place, and therefore we call it reverse electrolysis. In this case, hydrogen and oxygen are guided to the cathode and an anode that are separated to each other by a membrane, and their electric current starts to flow from the anode to the cathode. Chemical energy is converted into electrical energy using heat, and water is released. The water is thereby the waste of residue. The reaction takes place in the two shafts of the reaction chamber or the Queen's chamber. So this is a healthier version of nuclear power. I mean, this is I mean, come on, people. Like, this is like we can't be this foolish. We can't be. No disrespect to any of us, but we cannot be this foolish and let them dumb us down. Oh God, man. Okay, let's continue. The two electrodes, cathode and anode, are still present in the shafts. Image 10 here, we see them. An important application of the fuel cells is oxygen-hydrogen cell in the oxygen and hydrogen react with each other directly without membrane. This application without membrane takes place in the reaction shafts of the reaction chamber, the Queen's chamber, and the two shafts act as oxyhydrogen cells. The gas flow of the hydrogen and oxygen cell oxygen is led along the both electrodes with a conductive connecting liquid, water vapor, which contains dissolved sodium chloride or table salt NaCl. An electrode is the conductive medium that forms a connection between the two electrodes, anode and cathode. And in the case of sodium chloride NaCl dissolved in water vapor, which is a very strong electrolyte, salt is very well subtle, and the portion that which has been dissolved in water is completely split into ions so that the solution can be electrically conducted. Electrolyte solutions can be formed as a salt and is placed in a solvent such as water. The first researcher found a 1.27-inch thick salt layer on the walls of the Queen's chamber. Where else in the Great Pyramid was salt found that they could not suspect that salt was used for? Yeah, and they want to tell you that they were burying cats in these when none of the Egyptian pharaohs were found inside the pyramid. Hence the reason why we have, what's it called, the tomb of the pharaohs or whatever it's called. I mean, come on, guys. They try to. I'm sorry. It just really irritates me how stupid they try to make us. It just irritates me. And how successful they were at doing that. It just irritates me. I'm sorry. The builders of the Great Pyramid show us how. Notice what he said here. The builders of the Great Pyramid. He didn't say the Egyptians. Okay, he said the builders of the Great Pyramid show us how hydrogen can be produced without the use of electricity. In this way, giving us the opportunity to let go present destructive explosion technology. Clean energy from the resonant frequency from our own Earth. Literally using the Earth to power they're literally using the Earth to power their technology. When I was talking about the ley lines and ether, it's all connected. It's right there. It's right effing there. Sorry, it just frustrates me. The potentiality of our human existence has been dumbed down to this stagnation of backwards and broken technology. Clean energy from the resonant frequency from our own Earth. As discovered and implemented by Nikola Tesla and Dr. P, a legacy that is more precious than all the gold on Earth. But there will be a high price to be paid. Unfortunately, several researchers have experienced this firsthand. Both the researchers and economics, there is currently too much at stake. Exactly. All right. Do you guys remember the Buffalo shooting that happened at that grocery store? Well, there was a black man there who was a security guard. And during his, personal time, he constructed a machine that uses water to power cars. All right. And he was killed in that shooting after he promoted his ideas and the way he was doing it online. There have been several people who have created such ideas, and they either wound up dead or they wound up disappeared on a new island with much, much money and not a lick or word about their technologies. What do you think happened to Nikola Tesla? Oh, and a little fun fact. Trump's great-great-grandfather, he was one of the people that went and took Nikola Tesla's research back in the 50s. The FBI. But hey, I digress. Like I said, do your own research. You might be surprised at what you discover about the world and yourself. Let's continue. Resonance splitting. Quote, resonance splitting water molecules and produces energy from water. The most advanced technology through clean, pure, and subtle energy. End quote. Literally, that's what the pyramids were. The Bosnian pyramid, there's speculations that it was used for healing, that it could literally physically heal your body. Watch my live stream on the Bosnian pyramid. It's a fascinating place. Let's continue. What reveals the presence of hydrogen in the King's resonance chamber? A modern radar installation transmits electromagnetic radiation and receives the radiation reflected back by objects via an antenna. This electromagnetic radiation is guided from the radar installation to and from the antenna via a so-called waveguide. Such a waveguide is suited for the rapid transit of electromagnetic radiation of a specific wavelength. With a radar installation on broad ships, electromagnetic radiation has a wavelength of 3 to 10 centimeters, and that means that the waveguide is adjusted by means of its dimensions. For 3 centimeters, radiation, the rectangular aspect ratio of the waveguide is 3 by 1.5 centimeter, and the waveguide for 10 centimeter radiation is 10 by 5 centimeter. The first waveguide was theoretically developed in 1893 by British physicist J.J. Thomson, 1856 to 1940. And in 1894, the first experiments took place. Such a waveguide thus has a rectangular cross section, and the radiation passed through it as it were locked due to the size of the waveguide in relation to the wavelength of the respective electromagnetic radiation. In fact, a waveguide is nothing more else than a hollow metal pipe with a rectangular cross-section, intended for the optimal guide of radio waves. The largest natural waveguide which we know in the space between Earth and the ionosphere, with a length equal to the circumference of Earth. For guiding the Schwarzschild frequency, 7.83 Hz, a waveguide in the form of a shell around the Earth. So here we have an image of the waveguide northern shaft in the King's Chamber. Such a waveguide can also be found in the resonance chamber of the Great Pyramid. This is the northern shaft that has been sealed on the inside with a thin slab of granite to prevent the gas from escaping to the outside under normal circumstances. The dimensions of the northern shaft correspond to the waveguide for the passage of radiation having a wavelength of 21 centimeters, or the wavelength of a hydrogen gas. The dimensions of the shaft are exactly 21 by 10.5 centimeters or by 8.4 inches. When the hydrogen pressure in the resonance chamber became too high, one could, in case of the emergency, open this overpressure shaft from the outside of the pyramid by means of a granite ball which fits exactly in this shaft. This granite ball was released in the outer opening of the northern shaft, and thus the main granite slab in the resonance chamber will be broken by the speed and force of the impact of the ball, and allowing the dangerous excess pressure to be reduced by venting the gas through this shaft. The granite ball was one of the few objects ever found in the Great Pyramid, and of which the function has never been clear. Southern shaft in the resonance chamber has also been opened and has a different shape. This shaft was responsible for a low humming sound made by the pyramid, and which Herodotus mentioned the singing pyramid. The construction of this shaft looks like an organ pipe, and the pressure in the resonance chamber, hydrogen plus oxygen, provide the necessary gas flow in this shaft for the creation of sound. The length of the shaft determines the frequency of the transmitted sound. The longer the shaft, the lower the frequency of the sound and the further the sound carried. The Schumann frequency of 8.1 Hz, the golden frequency of 16.2 Hz, and the wavelength hydrogen of 21 centimeters as the numbers 81, 162, and 21 brought together in one moment. No hall of records which have been seeking for so long, but a pyramid of records in which all of our sciences underlining the design. Astronomy, precession, solar year, mathematics, mathematical constants, physics, sound and reverse electrostasis of water, chemistry, redox reaction, and medicine, resonance therapy, and 8 Hz field belong to the legacy left to us. The Great Pyramid is certainly no grave, no hydrogen plant, power or spiritual initiation center, but a gift from the gods by means of subtle energy presented by our own earth, a quality and responsible technology to reach, a gift from the gods united in one library of knowledge. Gods honor people, and it is now up to the people to honor the gods. It's about time to redeem us from dogmas and create a new vision that is based on logic and intuition. Logic through the universal language of numbers, and intuition through the universal language of the earth itself. It is all about sound. Due to the complications during storage and transportation, we are not ready for hydrogen economy, but it is time for a new world that will emerge from the legacy of an ancient world based on the voice of the earth. In ancient cultures known as the voice of God, the sound of creation, hopefully this book will contribute to the perception of a larger group of people. And that concludes the 4-part summary of the book, the Dutch title, De Grote Pyramid van Giza us Moment van die Schepping. And that concludes the Great Pyramid of Giza, the monument to the creation of life. I implore you all to do your own research into these fantastical ideas and mathematical possibilities. Truly. Because we live in a very, very fantastical and strange world, and the secrets that are being hidden from us could change the course of our reality, of humanity, and what it means to be a god. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Lounge Ronin. All things, everything, If you're new to the channel, please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. And until next time, stay positive, stay focused, stay true, and much love.